You will see under section 7, which sets out duties of commissioners defined. Section 7 provides that the commissioners, after taking the oath as prescribed, A, will make a full, faithful, and impartial inquiry into the matter in respect of which the commission is established, and conduct the inquiry in accordance with the directions, if any, in the commission. And this is the commission issued by the president. That's what is being referred to. There's a terms of reference. And B, in due course, furnish to the president in writing the result of the inquiry, including a full statement to what I have just read. Section 204 says adverse findings. 1. Where a commission of inquiry makes an adverse finding against any person, it shall, at the time of submitting its report to the president, inform such person of the finding and the reasons therefor. 2. A person against whom any such adverse finding has been made may appeal against such finding to the Court of Appeal as of right, as if the finding were a judgment of the High Court, and on the hearing of the appeal, the report shall be treated as if it were a judgment. 3. An appeal under this section shall be made within 3 months of the appellant being informed of the adverse finding, as provided by subsection 1, or such later time as the Court of Appeal may allow. So, in other words, the commissions of inquiry did not have, before the Constitution came into force, they did not have this power. But by the Constitution, section 204, they were given the additional power of actually making a finding, actually saying, we find as a fact that this person has committed, for instance, I'm giving you an example, has committed what can amount to an offense under the criminal code, and they refer to that section in the criminal code. And if they do make such a finding by this section, they have to serve before, when they are submitting their report to the president, they have to give notice of that finding to the person affected. And that person then has a right of appeal to the Gambia Court of Appeal, because that finding has the same importance as a judgment of the court, of the High Court. So that person can then appeal to the Gambia Court of Appeal against that finding. So that now places a huge burden on the commission, because it means that since the finding of the commission has been elevated by the Constitution to the same level as a judgment of the Court of Appeal, sorry, a judgment of the High Court, it means that the evidence that the commission relies on in order to come to that finding, to make that conclusion, must be evidence that will stand the usual test of such evidence in the High Court. Because when a judge of the High Court says, I find as a fact that you did A, B, and C, I find as a fact that you committed theft, it's because there's evidence on a balance of probability that's been placed before that judge. The conclusion has to be based in law. It has to be supportable in law. And that is why it was very crucial. My role as counsel was very crucial in making sure that not every evidence is just taken to the commission and said, okay, this is the evidence and that's it. I have to make sure that at least there's a balance of probability that that evidence, one, it's been properly obtained, and if it goes to the Court of Appeal, it will not be thrown out, and so on. So that was my role. Second, the second difference, and which is fundamental also, is in section 202, subsection 2 of the Constitution, subsection 2 D. Because if you look at the Commission of Inquiry, the Commission of Inquiry had the power to summon witnesses. Section 10 of the Commissions of Inquiry Act says that commissioners acting under this act have the powers of the High Court to summon witnesses and to call for the production of books, plans, documents, and to examine on oath witnesses and parties concerned, and to make interim orders. Okay, it's the same. Okay, sorry. The making of interim orders is the same. I thought there was a difference, but it's the same. The Commission of Inquiry had. So this is the main difference is the adverse findings, but the interim orders, um, both acts provided for interim orders. I think I'm looking at the act. Yes. All right, Council.
Thank you for that, Ms. Bensouda. Now, what we were looking at was whether you were the head of the legal and investigation teams or not. And evidence to the contrary has been registered on our records as a committee. And we wish to just put that to you. That's where we were. You've directed us to paragraph 4 of MOJ 3K, which is your engagement letter to the government. And I believe you also read paragraph 2, didn't you? If not, let's look at paragraph 2. Shall we? Shall we? Paragraph 2.
Sorry.
Let's look at paragraph 2 of your engagement letter, MOJ 3K. And paragraph 2 says the investigation process and correlation of the evidence. Perhaps let's get context of that before. Perhaps I can allow you to go through paragraph 2 for us and explain each of the paragraphs under paragraph 2, the subparagraphs rather.
Paragraph 2 is self-explanatory. Do you want me to read it?
Please.
Right. The investigation, paragraph 2 is paragraph 2 of the scope of work on the engagement letter. And I'm reading from the bundle I provided. I'm assuming that the bundle, I think it was tendered in evidence.
Yes,
Yes.
but just for the purpose of the chairperson and the committee members, it is MOJ 3K.
Very well. Scope of work. The scope of work, my scope of work as lead counsel was divided into 3 main areas. And the 3 areas are 1, the management and administration of inquiry process and procedures. 2, the investigation process and correlation of evidence. And 3, the proper and effective conduct of commission hearings, whether in public or private as appropriate. And paragraph 2, which is the investigation process and correlation of evidence, has 7 subparagraphs, A to H. And A says, identify the evidentiary issues, the order in which they are to be pursued, and the approach to be taken in pursuing them, as well as the witnesses to be called. B, coordinate the investigations to assure the quality of the evidence that is produced. C, to guide the investigators on the access and production of any matters of evidence outside the jurisdiction. D, assemble and present to the commissioners the evidence necessary for the conduct of the inquiry on the matters set out in the terms of reference of the commission. In this regard, all evidence will be submitted to council, whether directly by members of the public or through the secretariat of the commission or by any investigators supporting the commission. E, to correlate and present all evidence and other material in a coherent and efficient way. F, to determine the selection of witnesses to give oral evidence, the order in which they will be called, and their allocation to different issues within the terms of reference, and to submit to the secretary witnesses to be summoned. G, to review all evidence and exclude and minimize the risk of unreliable evidence motivated by malice or bad faith being released into the public domain. H, to act as a filter between the investigators and the commissioners by, among other things, ensuring that results of investigations are properly supported before presentation to the commissioners.
After reading paragraph 2, Ms. Bensouda, can it be said that you did not direct the investigations team?
I did not direct the investigations.
Okay, if we can look at the paragraphs a bit closer, or rather,
And
perhaps,
if I may add,
please.
and
go
it doesn't matter to me what anybody says about whether I directed the investigations or not, because it's entirely irrelevant. This commission is over, it's functus, it has done its job, it has submitted its report. I appeared before it, I have done my job, I have submitted my report. So opinions, persons can hold opinions. Now you have asked me, did I head the investigations? I said no. Now you're asking, can it be said that I did not direct the investigations? I'm saying I did not direct the investigations. And as far as I'm concerned, that is of no moment. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bensouda. Unfortunately, for me, I have a job too, which is not functus, it's active, and it's to probe in these specific issues. So unfortunately, I have to ask these questions, and unfortunately for you, you would have to answer these questions. I wish to look at some of these. Sorry? Oh, okay.
I'd just like to,
Sure.
for the record again, to say that the tenure of all these questions since this morning or since I started appearing in, before this committee, I did raise the concern and I'd like to raise it because it's a matter of record. And I'm saying that all these questions are way outside the mandate of this committee. The committee's mandate is not open-ended. This committee is not been set up by the National Assembly to review the work of the Janneh Commission. That is not in the motion that was passed on the floor. I don't see it there. And nothing in that motion supports what is happening, the tenor of the questions that are being asked. And the committee is subject to judicial review, to my mind. And at the end of the day, we expect that it will produce a report that is consistent with its mandate. So, yes, I've been invited to answer questions, but I do have privileges as a witness. I should not be asked to answer questions that are not within your jurisdiction, which is your mandate is all about, and which is your remit. So I'm here. I will give my best to cooperate with the commissioners. But I think that all these questions, and I don't want to make any statement that questions your work, learned counsel and learned friend. I'm not questioning your role, but I'm drawing your attention to the importance of any committee staying within its jurisdiction. Because staying outside that jurisdiction can tantamount to abuse of authority and abuse of power. And you know this.
Indeed, I know this, and I do appreciate this, Ms. Bensouda, and I'll agree with you that the committee going out of the whims of its mandate would be an abuse. I would disagree with you that we are going out of our mandate. And I believe this issue has already been raised and an order been given. So if we could proceed, since you've done us the kind courtesy of answering our questions, I would continue to say paragraph 2. We look at it, if we look at it, and perhaps if I may note, just from counsel to the witness, that You see, the responsibility of the National Assembly extends to advising the president on policy, on the president's policy considerations. And while the mandate is clear, anyway, let me stop at that. The assembly should advise the president on policy issues, and this work, your testimony, will go a long way in enabling the assembly to do that. Thank you. Paragraph 2, the investigation process and correlation of evidence. Now, the first limb talks about identification of the evidentiary issues. And then when you go to B, it says that you are responsible for coordinating the investigations to ensure the quality of evidence that is produced. C says that you are responsible to guide the investigators on the access and production of any matters of evidence outside jurisdiction. D says that you are also responsible to assemble and present to the commissioners the evidence necessary for the conduct of the hearing. Now, a wholesome reading of paragraph 2 indicates that indeed the investigation team were under you. Any comment?
No, I don't have any comments. You're entitled to whatever opinion that you form.
Certainly. Certainly. I would ask the Secretariat to also furnish the witness with SC6. SC6, but in the witness can also, since the witness has a bundle, can look at MOJ 3G and MOJ 3O and O. SC6, Secretary to Cabinet 6. O.
SC. I know the volume itself is SC, but how do you? Okay. Oh, you're going by the folio. Okay.
Chair, can I proceed? Thank you. Let's begin with SC1, which is SC6 rather, which is a letter dated the 20th of July, 2017, just days after commission was set up, and precisely 3 days after you resumed work, because you've informed the committee that you resumed work on the 17th of July, 2017. Now, this is a letter that...
I assumed.
Sorry?
I
assumed rather, my apologies. Yes, you assumed work on the 17th of July, 2017. 3 days later, a letter was issued from the commission to the office of the president under your hand. I will allow you to give us the contents of the document.
Mr. Chairman, this letter is in the bundle of documents I provided also. It's reference COM/CL/volume 1/09 dated 20th July 2017. And this is one of perhaps, I don't know whether it's hundreds of letters I wrote to various institutions.
Could you help us, please? I'm not sure the mic is going. Or could you, yeah.
As I was saying, this is one of a series of documents I wrote to various institutions and organizations when I assumed my duties on the 17th of July 2017, and this letter was dated 20th July 2017. My bundle, in my bundle, I have given what I called examples to show what I was doing during that period. So the letter is addressed to the Secretary General, Office of the President, State House, Banjul. And for the record, it was Mr. Fadera who was Secretary General and was very helpful in our investigations. And it says, dear sir, the commission investigations. As you are aware, I have been appointed counsel to the above commission, which has started work from the Jembe Beach Resort, formerly Jema Beach Hotel, Kololi. My duties include the coordination of the investigations and compilation of all evidence relating to the TOR for presenting to the commission. In this regard, it would be greatly appreciated if the following information could be submitted to the commission as a matter of urgency. 1, the names and contacts of all persons who have served as Secretary General, Cabinet Secretary, and Chief of Protocol from 22nd July 1994 to 21st January 2017, which was our mandate. 22nd July 1994 to 21st January 2017, the period during which they served, their current whereabouts and contacts if known. 2, all remuneration, including salary, allowances, gratuity, and pensions earned by the following persons during the aforesaid period. Ex-President Jammeh, Lady Zainab Jammeh. 3, the bank and bank accounts into which the remuneration were paid. 4, the payment vouchers and any other supporting documents for the payments. And it goes on to say, it would also be helpful if a suitable officer from your office could be identified to work with the investigation team in order to facilitate interface between your office and the inquiry and the retrieval of necessary information. Please note that this request is urgent and we would appreciate receiving the information on item 2 and 3 in particular before the 28th July 2017. I count on your cooperation. Yours faithfully, and I signed Ami Ndi Bensouda, copy Secretary to Commission.
Let's look at MOJ 3O and 3G as well, because they're under the same belt.
MOJ 3.
3G and 3O.
MOJ 3G. Can please, can I be assisted?
If the Secretariat could assist the
If
witness.
it's in this bundle, I'm not sure.
You need not read the entirety of the letters, but because they are quite similar, and you have hinted to the fact that within that period you wrote to several institutions. Perhaps you could just explain these two. And they're, like
Mr.
you
Chairman,
said, they are just examples from the many letters that you were issued under your hand.
yes,
Yes,
Mr.
proceed.
Chairman, I wasn't actually hinting. In my letter to this committee, dated 17th July 2025, in the bundles that were admitted, the first bundle, I'll draw your attention to page 2, in which I stated the sixth paragraph,
What page is that, Ms. Benson?
bundle 1281. It says document 1281, 2017. If you look at the cover letter that I wrote, dated 17 July 2025, the cover letter, Chairperson Special, it addresses Chairperson Special Select Committee. It's the first document in that bundle, the very first document.
Ms. Bensouda, is it dated the 17th of July?
Yeah, 17 July.
Perhaps if you can allow me to guide. It's the cover letter, honorable members.
It's the cover letter.
It's not in the bundle quite. It is on its own.
So it's in the bundle as well. The bundles, documents 1 to 8, first document. It's not there?
That letter is not
If you
attached.
can allow me to just guide, our copies came with the cover letter. So there's a cover letter and 3 bundles. So
Very
you're
well.
referring to the cover letter. It is AB2, Honorable Chair.
AB2. Okay, thank you. So it's a letter dated 17 July 2025, addressed to the chairperson of this special select committee, and copied to the clerk of the National Assembly, headed re-response to summons to produce. And on page 2 of that letter, paragraphs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 6th paragraph, I said, I effectively started my engagement on the 17th July 2017 and moved to Jembe Hotel, Consistent with my TOR, the first 2 weeks, 17th to 24th, was spent on addressing logistical issues, planning, organizing the investigations, writing to all public institutions listed in the Commission TOR, meeting with the commissioners, developing templates, including for summons, notices, etc. Sample letters written during the period are attached, and I attached about 20 sample letters. And these are some of the letters that I wrote during that period. That is the first one that I read. And this second one, MOJ 3G, written to the Director of Civil Litigation and International Law of the Attorney General's Chambers. That's MOJ 3G. And it says the Commission of Inquiry Investigation. And the first 2 paragraphs are usually the same. As you are aware, I'm the lead counsel for the aforesaid newly established Commission of Inquiry. My duties include the coordination of investigation, etc., relating to the TOR. And one of the issues being investigated is the tax commission. It would assist us greatly and enhance the investigations if you can provide us with reports of the tax commission, all correspondence thereto with the Office of the President, Gambia Revenue Authority, GRA, and any other government authority relating to the case. Furthermore, a summary of all those paid, I think there's a typo there, all those paid and to which account. This matter should be treated with urgency. So I wrote hundreds of these letters.
Yes. And perhaps I would excuse you from reading MOJ 3O. I will do that myself. It is addressed to the Solicitor General and Legal Secretary. It was dated the 9th of August 2017. And the subject is with reference to commission investigations, like all the other letters. With reference to commission investigations. As you are aware, I am the lead counsel for the aforesaid newly established Commission of Inquiry. My duties include the coordination of investigations and compilation of all evidence relating to the TOR for presenting to the Commission. It is my pleasure to introduce Mr. A name is provided as one of our new investigators. He is assigned to collect information and documents in your office relating to the assets of the former President Yahya AJJ Jammeh. Full stop. We count on your usual cooperation. Yours faithfully, signed, undersigned, Ami N.D. Bensouda, lead counsel, commission secretary, copied. Now, 3 days after you assumed your position, letters were issued to different institutions, informing them of the Commission of Inquiry's investigations. MOJ 3O, you even had cause to introduce one of the investigators to the Attorney General's office. From the evidence we have gotten, once again, from yourself in form of documentary evidence and the viva voce evidence of 4 witnesses rather, my apologies, place you as the head of investigations. Your engagement letter not only also places you as the coordinator of the investigation team, but it also goes to say that in paragraph 2 of the scope, paragraph 2D, it also goes to say, and I'm reading from the middle of the paragraph, in this regard, all evidence is to be submitted to council, whether directly by the members of the public or through the secretariat of the commission or by any investigators supporting the commission. I would also direct you to the tail end of paragraph 3, paragraph 2. The end of scope, after the paragraphs on the scope, you have a paragraph headed team. Can you see it? It's on page, yes, the engagement letter, MOJ 3K. It's on page 3. Do you see it, Ms. Bensouda? Do you see the paragraph I'm referring to?
Yes.
If you could kindly just read that paragraph alone.
And
I would say that you need not read the names. You are at liberty not to read the names. If you wish to read it, as you please.
In addition to the investigators,
if you could
and the 2 assisting
get closer
state
to the
counsel,
mic, Ms. Bensouda.
in addition to the investigators and the 2 assisting state counsel from the Attorney General's chambers, a senior associate of my firm will assist me in the commission at no extra cost. Is that the one?
Yes, that's the one. That is a paragraph that describes team, but I would not want to put to decipher my interpretation of it without at least giving you a chance to decipher that paragraph.
I don't understand your question.
It's not, my question is for you to elaborate on that paragraph.
It speaks for itself. There's nothing to elaborate.
Fantastic. Then, if it speaks for itself, what it says to me is that your team, because it's headed team, it says, in addition to the investigators, which I would presume would be part of your team, and the two assisting state counsels, who I also assume would be part of your team, a senior associate of your firm will assist you at no extra cost. Am I right?
No,
Do you want to take the courtesy now and explain?
it's self-explanatory. This is my engagement letter before I even took, with, what is it, Peter?
That's fine,
This
Ms.
is my,
Bensouda.
this is my engagement letter. And I was informing in the engagement letter, I was indicating who I was going to bring, in addition to the resources that the government was going to provide. The government is providing investigators. It's in the TOR of the commission that was issued by His Excellency the President, that investigators will be provided. And in my discussions with the Attorney General, it was agreed that he would provide state counsel who would support me, because we all recognize that this was a very extensive investigation. And obviously, in terms of what I would agree to, fees to be paid, and so on, I needed support. And he agreed he would provide state counsel for tourism to expedite the investigations and as a learning process, so state counsel can learn from the process. And team from an engagement letter means who is going to come from my office and will constitute the team. And it was going to be myself and one senior associate. That's what is intended. You can give it a different interpretation. But I must say again, anyway, let's go on. Let's leave it.
I think it's healthy that our laws are tested. And if, again, you wanted to raise the issue of the jurisdiction or mandate, I would encourage you, Ms. Bensouda, once the report is finalized, to test the law.
Can we proceed, Council?
Yes, we can.
Thank you.
Team, it says, in addition to the investigators and the two assisting state counsel from the Attorney General's office. In addition to, like you said, it speaks for itself. And I wish to seek clarity on this, because it's not clear, Ms. Bensouda, that your team was just yourself and an associate from your firm. If that was the sentence, if that sentence entails that a senior associate of your firm will assist you in the commission at no extra cost, it would be clear that the team is just two people from your firm. But it says, in addition to the investigators and the two assisting state counsel, feeding into the narrative that has been given to this committee by 4 other witnesses, which are consistent. And it's also consistent with this paragraph of your letter of engagement, which suggests that you were the head of the legal and investigation teams. No reaction, I presume.
Was I called upon to react? I've already answered the question, Council.
That's fine. We can move on. Honorable Chair, you take note of the witnesses' answers, and we can proceed.
Cancel.
Yes, Honorable. I'm consulting.
No, I was going to say, I think it is going to be a convenient time for us to.
I don't think it is. I think we can go for another 30 minutes.
30 minutes.
Yes. It's your decision. I think we can do another 30 minutes.
All right, Council. I mean, you know, the standard time for our normal break is from 2 o'clock going upward. But then since lunch is not around, we can proceed at least 30 minutes, then we can go out for break. To 2:30, huh?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Just to wrap up this issue, Ms. Bensouda, the from your testimony again, it's 3 units: commissioners, the lead counsel, sorry, commissioners, lead counsel, and investigation team, which is in contrast to all the other evidence the committee has received, which seems to picture it as commissioners, lead counsel, and investigation team, and then secretariat. Three, in either case, there are 3 limbs, but the way it's described differs. We move on to the operations, just maybe 2 questions on operations. It is indicated in paragraph 2D of your engagement letter, and also in RS4, if the witness can be furnished with RS4 to look at, which is a memo that was issued to the second secretary, just defining the scope of work between the secretariat and the team of counsel, or lead counsel's team. And perhaps I'll give it a moment for you to be furnished with RS4. Are we there? Can I proceed, Ms. Bensouda?
Yes, certainly.
Sure. Let's look at the second page. Well, before I go to the second page, this is a memo dated the 11th day of July, 2018. Of course, by that time, the first secretary had been relieved, and the second secretary assumed position as the substantive secretary, even though under the title assistant secretary. And this is RS4 is a document that sought to clarify the role of the work between counsel's office and the secretariat. And I would allow you to give us a rundown of this document, since it was also done under your hand.
This is a memo. I'm trying to remember it. I did not sign it. I'm not saying I did not write it, but memos usually I would endorse the memo against my name. I would endorse it against my name. But I'm trying to remember it. However, it seems to be to Assistant Secretary, 11 July. Well, I think yes, we had an Assistant Secretary at that time, but there was no secretary immediately after the 10th July. So it must be, if I wrote this memo to Assistant Secretary, then the person who was in charge of the Secretariat was the Assistant Secretary. And the memo is subject work between Council's office and Secretariat. So it outlines well, it's divided into different sections, and the first one is on summons and notices and how this work. The second one is memo, emails, and outgoing communication, and how communication between my office, lead counsel's office, and the secretariat, how it was coordinated. Then documents, schedule, oath exhibits, and transcripts. How also this was coordinated, and it's a briefing. It's a briefing memo, so to speak, or guiding. I'm sure guiding the assistant secretary as to what was expected.
The last paragraph
So
is
then there's stationary, water, fuel, and phone credits.
okay.
But how this was also managed, and council team and contacts, council and or team and contacts. So you have the list of lawyers that were at the commission at the time. Some were from my office. Three were from my office. Two were from the AG's office. I recognize these. And there's a legal assistant from the judiciary, and two legal assistants, I think. One from the judiciary, one from the AG's office. Then the 5 investigators, all listed with their phone numbers.
I wish to draw your attention to the caption in the heading. It says council, team, and contacts. Again, I can only conclude from what I deduce from the documents. The document is a memo to the assistant secretary. At the time, the first secretary, Mr. Alhaji Mamadi Kurang, was relieved. The second secretary was appointed on the 10th of July, 2018. And that is Ms. Ramatullah Saad. And on the 11th of July, assuming that it's her first day at work, the day she assumed the position, a memo was sent to her from you or your team, giving her clarity on the work between council's office and the secretariat. You see, even the subject refers to council's office as an office. So we go from team in your TOR to office here. And on the last paragraph, the heading is council, team, and contacts. And the composition, there's a 12-man team. Or rather, there are 12 names under that caption: council, team, and contacts. And against each name is their position and their telephone numbers. You can see that there are two groups of personnel in this 12-man list. There's the legal team and there's the investigation team. So from everything the committee has received, it is a natural conclusion that you were the head of the legal team and the investigation team. I wish for you to react.
I don't have any reaction. And I think I'll need to seek clarification from the chair. From the tenor of the questions today, questions have been put to me regarding my role in the commission, and reference has been made to evidence by the 3 or 4 other witnesses who have come and said I headed the investigation. So I just need to be guided. What is the issue here? Because I'm a witness of this. I was summoned to come and give evidence. But I don't really understand what the issue is that is being investigated. So if it is said that I headed the investigation team, and is there an issue that I need to answer? Because I keep on going back to why I am here, and I'd like to draw your attention to section 119 of the Constitution, 1997 Constitution. Section 119. Section 109 is about the committees of the National Assembly, and this is one of, just before I go back to section 119, section 109, I note, of course, is what gives this committee its mandate, and that this committee was actually appointed or established pursuant to section 109, subsection 2B from the motion that I was shown. And subsection 3 sets out the powers of the committee, and it says, for the purpose of effectively performing its functions, each of the committees shall have all of the powers, rights, and privileges as are vested in the High Court at trial in respect of enforcing the attendance of witnesses and examining them on oath or affirmation, B, compelling the production of documents, and C, the issue of a commission or request to examine witnesses abroad. So first one, to your powers, I've been summoned and I have appeared, and I was given a summons which indicated what I was being summoned and the question that I'm required to answer. Now, section 119 gives me certain privileges as a witness before this committee. Subsection 1 says every person summoned to give evidence or to produce any paper, book, record, or other document before the National Assembly or any committee of the National Assembly shall be entitled in respect of his or her evidence or to the production of such document as the case may be to the same privileges as if he or she were appearing before a court. Now, my concern is I have a feeling, I may be wrong, and Mr. Chairman, you can correct me if I'm wrong, that I have a feeling of somewhat being blindsided. In other words, I've been invited here to give evidence with regard to assets. I come here and I've been appearing for 3 days running. And it seems as if my appointment is being questioned. My role in the committee is being questioned. I'm being told that witnesses have come here that are giving evidence in relation to what my role was and wasn't. So I'd like to be guided whether, if I am under investigation, because it sounds very much as if I'm here trying to defend something I'm not aware of. So if there is an issue, I expect that this committee will put it fairly and transparently. Mrs. Bensouda, this is the issue here, and we would like your evidence on it. But to be asked questions which to me As I have said, I don't see the relationship between the questions I'm being asked and your mandate, that's for one. Two, it's being put to me that consistently that 4 witnesses have come and said I headed the investigation. Then I asked myself, even if they said so, so where are we going with this? I think I need to know. Simply, I need to know what it is that, what is it that is being investigated in relation to what these witnesses said, so that I can advise myself. In the situation where I am in a court, no witness can be invited to a court and be asked to give evidence on issues that have not been squarely put on record. So I'm being questioned on matters, I don't know what it is that I'm being questioned about, frankly. Because nothing I've been invited to come and give evidence on has been asked. All this is about my appointment. The National Assembly cannot set itself up as an authority to question what the president did in relation to appointing a commission, or how the Attorney General appointed a counsel to the commission. So I don't really, but besides the point, that's an opinion. Besides the point, you have your motion which was passed on the floor of the National Assembly, and it is specific. It is specific. You are required to investigate the assets, the disposal of assets that were identified by the commission. What do I know about it? What is the role I played, if any? That's what I expect. But all these questions, it seems there are accusations or allegations that have been made by witnesses that I'm required to answer, but I don't know what these allegations are. So if there are allegations I'm called upon to answer, I need to know what they are. I don't want to come here and be disrespectful by saying I will not answer a question. But your powers are not infinite. I have rights as a witness. If there is an issue, it should be put frankly on the table, and it should be addressed properly and transparently. So I want to know what it is that is being investigated. What is the allegation against me that I'm being called upon to answer to? I know one person in public media and public space, and I said it before, has made allegations, and the questions that I'm being asked are very similar to the allegations that they have been made. If this committee is investigating allegations made by Mr. Mamadi Kurang, I should be told, so I can come ready to answer to those allegations. I will still protest that it is not in your terms of reference, insofar as the allegations don't relate to assets. But to be honest, it's not right. It is not fair. It's an abuse of power for me to be brought and be questioned on allegations I have no notice of. And I'd like it to be on record.
Honorable Chair, if you can give me, I would start from the bottom up and to say that unequivocally, first of all, I would start, if you would permit me, Honorable Chair, to say that the National Assembly currently has 6 lawyers in its team. Each of those 6 lawyers holds the witness in the highest esteem. Even if we know that the National Assembly is a political institution, but no council would sit here and allow Ms. Bensouda's name to be dragged. Let me state that unequivocally first. Having said that, this is not a campaign against you, Ms. Bensouda, or rather, let me address the chair. This is not a campaign against the witness. Yes, Mr. Alhaji Mamadi Kurang was before the committee and he made several allegations that it's only fair that we put it to the witness for her to clarify. But before Mr. Alhaji Mamadi Kurang came, the chairperson came and he made the same assertions. Subsequently, after that, the second secretary came, made the same assertions. Subsequently, after that, just yesterday, not even 24 hours ago, Commissioner Abiose George made the same remarks. Now, they are not allegations, so to speak, because our mandate is to look at the sale. But if you look at the motion, our mandate cannot be realized by looking at the sale. We need to know what role individuals played in the sale. And that goes back to appointment. That goes back to what your TOR was. We have dealt with this issue many times, and If it were a different witness, I would insist that we have dealt with this issue and move on. But because we hold the witness that is before us with the highest esteem, I want to put this on the record, like she has put hers on the record, that this is not a witch hunt. The questions administered from this table would never have any undertones. And every issue that I go on, especially from proceedings today, I tell the witness that we want to discuss about such and such. The first issue I told the witness rather, was we wanted to discuss the two orders, MOJ 5A and C. We discussed that. I was transparent to you, Ms. Bensouda. The second issue I had informed the witness was the appointment when they just started, and when they started on the 17th of July, 2017. And the third issue is the issue of the role of investigations and the role she played in investigation and operations. Before each of these issues, before I delved into each of these issues, I made it clear to the witness that this is what I wish to speak about. Again, I would contend with the witness and say that all the questions being administered are within our scope. They go to the greater extent of advising our mandate. And I would still stand on that, Honorable Chair. I would also go to say, and I do this grudgingly, that the Janneh Commission was also issued with a legal notice number 15 of 2017. And therein, there were a list of properties that the Janneh Commission were to scrutinize, to distinguish whether they were the former president's assets or state assets. But within the course of their work, inevitably, they had to discover, they discovered several other assets. One can argue that that was not within the scope, but it is consequential because it's a connected matter. And when we couched our motion, all connected matters, such as those issues that I'm putting to the witness, are admissible. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
All right. Thank you so much, Council. Thank you, Ms. Bensouda, for raising that concern. And of course, I also want to put it on record. I think we've discussed about this issue the last time you appeared. And from your own self, you did say you wanted to support this committee to give them information that are going to be part of the facts that we're going to present to the public. And I did tell you, yes, we definitely want you to support us with facts. But you will also realize that this committee, since we started work, and I said this the last time, the questions that we are asking witnesses are strictly within the mandate of the committee. And some of the things that we receive from other witnesses, of course, Council said it, it will be only fair for this committee to put those questions to you, just for your reaction, to confirm either yes or no. And I think that is exactly what the committee is doing. Like Council said, the lawyers that we have in the House that are supporting the committee, these are also young lawyers. Of course, we are proud of them. They've been doing a very good job. I'm not sure they will advise this committee at any point they feel that this committee is going out of their mandate. I'm very much sure they will advise us. And of course, also we have other people within who are actually watching the operations of this committee. Whenever we are going outside the mandate, I'm sure they will definitely tell us. We appreciate that you raised the concern, of course, and that is your right as well. But I think we are definitely within the remit of this committee. And then I will indulge you to cooperate with us and support us to get information that is relevant for our work. At the end of the day, the report will be out, and then we will see what happened till then. But I am very much sure that the council have stated very clearly, and that is I think that's the position of the committee. Of course, we are within the mandate to operate. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam, Mr. Chairman. I certainly will not belabor the point. But one thing I'd like to draw your attention to is with regard to investigations. And I hope that you said something very important, that I'm a witness, and when I'm asked a question, it's yes or no. But when I ask a question from the style, when I answer yes or no, that doesn't seem to be enough. The question is repeated in different forms. Other people came and said something. No, my answer is the same. It won't change. So perhaps we should try to avoid the delay, because really your time is valuable, and I'm no longer a spring chicken. I don't want to be sitting here hours and hours on believing. When I give my answer, that's it. That should be it, and we move on. But let me just on the investigations and how things work. It's a pity, I think. I don't know what SBS Jani, whom I hold in very high regard, said, but I hope, and I'm sure whatever it is, there is a misunderstanding somewhere. There is a commission report, 9 volumes, and volume 1 outlines how the commission operated. And in terms of investigations, I'll draw your attention. I don't know whether you have the volumes here. Let me draw your attention to page 11, and I hope that will resolve the matter of investigation so that hopefully we can move on beyond this point.
Ms. Ben, so if you
Volume
could,
1.
Volume 1.
Volume 1.
yes, if you could just give the committee a few moments to.
Volume 1, page 11.
You can go ahead.
So if you look at that, from that page, I think the heading was method of work from the previous page. This is volume 1, and the commission was explaining how it worked. So 3 is method of work, and if you go to paragraph D, on page 11, it said, in one of our meetings, it was agreed that in order to avoid chaos, all letters of complaint or information concerning witnesses or potential subjects of investigation were to be addressed or directed to the Secretary to the Commission at our Jembe Hotel address. The letters would ordinarily be submitted to lead counsel to the Commission. A team of investigators worked with counsel who would direct the investigation of persons considered useful as witnesses and or potential subjects of investigation. Great care was taken not to point at anyone as a close associate without the chance of giving oral evidence before the Commission in a public session or submitting written statements. This assignment to counsel to the Commission, notwithstanding the commissioners reserved to themselves, this assignment to counsel to the Commission notwithstanding, the commissioners reserve to themselves the power at any time to call or recall any witness to testify or swear an affidavit for the use of the commission. Then E, preliminary investigations. Pursuant to Section 15 of the Commissions of Inquiry Act, 5 police investigators were assigned to the commission to assist with investigations and the obtaining of evidence on various subject areas within our mandate. Their main duties involve gathering of preliminary evidence for review by counsel, interviewing witnesses or people of interest to the commission, inspecting properties of the ex-president, family members, and close associates, and conducting follow-up investigations directed by the commissioners or counsel. Next, page 12. The investigators reported to counsel and worked under her supervision, both as a team and individually. The investigators reported to counsel and worked under her supervision, both as a team and individually. Their findings could prompt further investigation into specific issues or trigger investigation into other areas. They were, in the main, responsible for providing or prompting the production of a major part of the evidence presented to the commissioners at public hearings. There was a level of separation between the investigative process and commission hearings, which allowed for free and private dialogue between the commissioners and counsel, between counsel and the investigators, and rarely between commissioners and the investigators. This was necessary to avoid any possibility that the commissioners may be exposed to and influenced by very preliminary and untested evidence. The inquiry was organized this way in order to maintain a strict division between functions in order to ensure, that the general processes of the commission were all conducted in a transparent, fair, and non-prejudicial manner that averted any possibility of bias on any issue, subject, or against any person. This is how the commission worked. It is already in the report. So to my mind, witnesses coming here and giving their opinion about a commission that it's done with functus 6 years afterwards, it's neither here nor there. With respect to my learned friend and the commission, it's a mere waste of time. It is in the commission report. Nothing they say can override this report. This report is paramount. Nothing any witness can come here and say, this report is the report to the president after commission is finished. This is the legal report of the commission. And it's all here. How the commission work? What is the relationship? The relationship was functional. It was not hierarchical. That's what I'm explaining. The relationship was functional. You are responsible for this. You are responsible for that. This person is responsible. And we work together in a seamless manner. It's not hierarchical. The chairman cannot control me. I was lead counsel. I cannot control the commissioners. I cannot control investigators. I can tell them, go and investigate this, but I cannot say anything about what they bring. I will look at it and say, look, this is not enough. Go and check. I don't think I can present this. That is, it's functional relationship, very dynamic, but it's not hierarchical. So really, that's my final answer on the point of the investigators. I really don't have anything to add. This is in the report. This is how it works. I have nothing to add. So please, I hope you will accept my answer so that we can proceed.
Honorable Chair, I would like to state that this is an investigation. The committee is also conducting an investigation. An investigation has to take a position sometimes and prove or disprove that position. And consequently, I will have to ask my questions in different phases. I'm sure the witness, being lead counsel, understands that. But also what the extract that was just read, with all due respect, Ms. Bensouda, it aligns with what the 4 testimonies before this committee. I'll just read 2 of the extracts and I'll leave it there since the witness has also left it there. I'll leave it to the chair. But it says, a team of investigators worked with counsel who would direct the investigations of persons considered useful as witnesses and or potential subjects of investigation. That's one. The second, I would say, it's the beginning of a sentence. The investigators reported to counsel and worked under her supervision as both as a team and individually. Those 2 statements, with all due respect to the witness, somewhat substantiate what the 4 witnesses have stated. Now, the witness has all liberty to dispel what they have stated and explain. And some of our explanation, I believe, the committee sees the rationale as to why perhaps she would be assimilated to leading it. But it's important that the witness is given an opportunity to react to what others have stated, especially for our report. To you, Honorable Chair. I would state that perhaps once the chair has deliberated on the matter, once we get the answer to my question, which I can ask again, we take a break. that would be then a convenient place.
Okay, just before that, maybe you allow colleagues to do a reaction.
I just want you to inform the committee the document you're just reading now. Can you make a reference to it so that we know?
The
Well-
document has been referred to us by the witness, and it's volume 1 of the
Report,
report.
page?
It
Your
is page 11,
All right, okay.
and it's paragraphs. It's the paragraphs that are
Yeah,
headed
you've seen it.
method of work and
Yeah, That's
preliminary
okay, we've seen
investigation.
it. Honorable Fofana want to react as well.
Chair, this will be a quick one. I think the first thing I want to put on record is we could all remember the other time the witness appeared. She did indicate that she's currently going to court, but she wouldn't mind to answer questions which might be related to that. So, Chair, I just want you to put it on record that the witness have the right, if at all questions are asked, which you believe might be prejudicial to your case, to bring it before the attention of the committee. And if you do, the chairman will make a determination after legal consultations. Okay, so please do. You have that right. Okay? Any question that is being asked and you believe it will be prejudicial to your case, you have the right to bring it to the attention of the committee, and a consideration will be done. And a precedents have been set to that during the inquiry of the joint committee, where a particular entity appeared with their legal representation, with their lawyer, and then they brought forth their case that some of the questions that were administered are prejudicial to the ongoing case before the courts. But Chair, also to buttress that, the Assembly does have the powers to advise the executive with regards to what their operations. That goes to the heart of parliamentary culture. And that's exactly what we are doing. And again, just Chair, to remind the witness that the Assembly does not operate on rumors or ill will. Everything we are doing is backed by the Constitution and our standing orders. And honestly, there's no abuse of authority here. In fact, we are giving the witness the opportunity to make clarifications with regards to certain things that were said. And all we want to understand is the operations. You cannot go direct into sales if you don't identify the processes that lead to the sales. And that's exactly what we are doing. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you, honorable member. Yes, counsel, you may proceed. Maybe the witness will help us. Ms. Bensouda, if I recall very well, the question was specific on one thing. That was the reference of you being the one leading the investigation during the commission. So yes, your response was no. So, and I think what I've seen counsel was trying to do is to, get facts from the report and present it to you that this is exactly what the report says. So maybe that question is important. If he can ask again, and then you help us to clarify.
It's
and we move
there-
on.
the- not-
sorry,
not
the
from the
question
report.
was whether I headed the investigation. And that was the question, very specific. Whether I headed, I said I was head of I'm not head of the investigation. The answer is in the report. You know, all these documents that I'm being referred to now, these were all documents that were before the commission, that were formed part of the records of the commission. And this is the report of the commission on those documents. This is the report, the 9 volumes. It's a summary of all the work the commission was doing. And volume 1 sets out the procedure, if you are interested in the procedure, the relationships between the different functions and how the commission operated. And this volume was volume 1. All these volumes were written by the commissioners. And method of work is set out. How we related. And nowhere does it say I'm head. Let me just give you an analogy so that we understand, because I take the point that not everybody here is a lawyer. Let's take the relationship in terms of investigation between the Director of Public Prosecutions and the Inspector General of Police. When the Director of Public Prosecutions is the one responsible for taking the investigation file from the Inspector General of Police, they hand it to the Director of Public Prosecution. And for the Director of Public Prosecution to prosecute, go to court. But when the police bring a file, the State Council look at the file, and the file will say, okay, this is all the witnesses, these are the facts, and so on, and this is our opinion that an offense has been committed. The lawyer looks at it, and knowing fully well what it is that has to be proven when he goes to court, he then lists, no, this is missing, this is not there. What you have said does not amount to murder, for instance, if the case is murder. You have to go and check. You mentioned a witness, but you haven't really said what that witness said. Go back and interview that witness. That does not mean the Director of Public Prosecution heads the investigation. It doesn't. It doesn't. So we have to be very careful about the use of the terminology we are using. There are two distinct bodies. Inspector General of Police, investigation office is within Inspector General. They investigate, hand it over to the Attorney General's chambers, where you have the Director of Public Prosecution, where you have State Council. The file is given to them. They look at it. They can send it back and say the evidence is not sufficient. Does that mean they are ahead of the investigation? They're not. Investigation is a function that is separate from what I did as counsel advising the commission. My job was to advise, was to review, was to check, was to say, no, go and check that witness. No, do this. You can call it direct. But I have nothing to add to what the commission report says in terms of my relationship between myself and the investigators, myself and the commissioners. It's all explained. So I don't think there is any need I don't want to be the one to say, I'm not trying to direct what you're doing at all. But if you have 9 volumes, the premise of the investigation should be what is in those volumes and not what people who were in the commission said. Whatever they said, to me, to my mind, not to me, but to my mind, and in my humble opinion, it's not relevant because they were part of the commission. They had done what all of us, we were part of the work for the commission. We had done what we were supposed to do. The commission is finished. Everything is reflected in their reports. So
yeah, that's
really, so
that's fine. That's
please,
okay.
I don't have anything else to add on this thing about my relationship with the investigators. I refer you to what the commissioner said.
That's fine. I think we have gone through this part as well in the first volume. We have read the acknowledgement and all that. But we will leave it there. Honorable Sir, you can react.
Honorable, my question still stands.
No, we are coming back to you.
All right,
coming back to you.
Thank you very much. Yeah. My concern here is about the team of that you are working with, the team that you are working with.
Yes.
Honorable Chair, if it's a question, I advise that I finish my questioning. Yes, I just have one last question. Please. Ms. Bensouda, I would now abandon my assertion that 4 witnesses came to the committee, but I would definitely ask it a different way, and I would appreciate if you would just indulge me on it for the last time. Volume 1 of the Commission of Inquiry's report states that the investigation team reports to you. And a memo that you issued to the secretary, the assistant secretary, also makes an inference that your team comprises of the legal team and the investigation team. Are we to take it are we to deduce from both these documents that those descriptions are inaccurate?
I have already said that the relationship I had with the investigators is the relationship that is described in the report.
So we take what is in the report as
Yes,
sacrosanct.
what is in the report.
As you
That
please.
is the status
Honorable
quo.
Chair. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Council. I think it's a convenient time for us to take break. No, that's okay. We can take break and for lunch and press, and we can come back at 3:30 again. What's the time now? Just three is, no, 15 minutes. Quarter to,
Honorable Chair, I would
past.
advise that we come at 4.
4
Just-
4
just-
o'clock.
no, it's too, it's already. Yeah, 4 o'clock is
Honorable
fine.
Chair, I advise we come at
4
4.
o'clock is fine.
yes.
4 is fine. It will be just 1 hour, 15 minutes. That's fine. That's fine. Meeting adjourned till 4 o'clock and we will resume. Thank you.